Halloween
Forever.
Good evening, Stephen. How's it hanging? I was gonna say, how's it going? How's it going?
How's it hanging? It's not hanging because I'm sitting down, so it doesn't really
That's
hang
true.
when I sit down.
That's true. I was gonna say how's it hanging. I was like, you know what? That's crass. I don't know why I said that. Instead, I'll give you this joke. Are you ready for one? I should ask permission before providing one.
I am prepped.
All right. You know, back in college, I couldn't get into any fraternities. You know, I tried, but I couldn't. Turns out it was because I was circumcised. You believe that? In this day and age, they wouldn't let a circumcised man into fraternities. Yeah, apparently to get in, you had to be a complete dick. Welcome,
that one. I mean,
boys and ghouls, to a very collegiate, I don't know, Minisode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
Brian, are you struggling? I'm Steve, but I'm
struggling.
But I'm curious. Are you struggling? Because it's just like
I'm struggling mentally. I'm struggling physically. Struggling, all the above. Yeah, I really, really am. Yeah, we're recording. I'm just running around like a goddamn maniac today. Got soccer. I got a bunch of shit trying to get done around the house. This past, through Saturday, we had the goddamn NFL draft here in our city, of which I had to do a bunch of work shit for, which was a long time coming, culmination of a lot of plans. So I'm fucking pooped, Steven. I am absolutely pooped. And I'm not well. So that might explain the dog shit intro, dog shit joke. And we're about to follow it up with an absolute dog shit movie, but I will not be blamed for this. This is 100% on you. This is a late coming punishment episode from way back at the beginning of the month from our April showdown. Stephen, why don't you tell the boys and ghouls at home what we're going to be talking about and why, what would possess a man like you to pick a movie like this?
Yes, we'll be talking about 1992's Hellmaster. Which, yeah, buch. What a buch. This was a to-be find of sorts. I think I either voluntarily put it on Tubi, just because, hey, I was looking around and I'd never seen it before, or it was a movie I kind of woke up to.
Sure.
Yeah, I remember sleep being involved in this because this is a very boring movie, so I think I might have
I was going to say sleep was very closely involved in my viewing as well.
Yeah.
Because this movie is fucking boring.
Yeah. But I remember at one point waking up during the film and watching a scene and just be like, this is one of the worst edited films I've ever seen. And so
some of the worst sound design, some of the worst editing, some of the poorest lighting.
The lighting is varies. We'll talk about it more when we get into it.
Yeah, it varies. There's some that are okay.
The visuals might be the only thing that is passable at times in this film, but everything else I noticed watching it, I was like, this is just like this garbage. Like, I've never heard of this film, obviously for a reason, but watching it, it's just like, where did this come from? Why did this exist? And the fact that I was able to point to a film that has like terrible editing, that's not usually a point that you get to make on these films, but I immediately added it to the punishment list, and then here we are.
You know what? And I think we're maybe even bearing the lead here, because I think the saddest, most poorly executed part of this movie is just an absolutely incomprehensible script. Impossible to follow, asinine story. We got a lot to talk about here. It is a true punishment episode. We're like Steven said, talking about just a singular project from a singular talent. And I use the term talent in quotations.
Auteur.
Yeah, it's a real auteur scenario here, but we'll talk about here in a hot second. But we got some shit at the top of the show that we got to do, as always. Steven, are you slurping on a wet one?
Yes, I have a wet one. It is nothing new to the show, I don't believe. I believe I've had it before, but I am just drinking on the old Von Trapp Black Lager, the Schwarz.
The Schwarz beer, yeah, I believe we've definitely had that one on the show before. That's a classic. That's a tasty one.
Yes.
I am not too terribly far off. It is not Schwarz in nature, but it is a little lager beer. I'm drinking on a beer from Bell's Brewing Company up in beautiful Kalamazoo, Michigan. This is Flyover Light. This is an American style. I don't think I would even call it American style light lager, just an American style lager from our friends at Bell's. And I'll tell you what, let me get a little sippy on it. Yep. Yep. That's just a good old fun time lager beer. That's all that is. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Just drank on it. You just slurp on it.
Just drank on it.
Just keep it cold. You just slurp on a good old fun time lager, boy, and it'll get you where you need to be. It's got a nice little. It's very crisp. I like that. It's got that nice little kind of sulfury freshness that I like in a crisp, clean lager beer, especially on this fine spring evening. It is not going to wash down the taste of this dog shit movie. I will say that. But luckily, we got some other things we got to talk about at the top of the show, and I will avoid talking about it as long as I can.
Yes.
Steven, I believe are we gonna talk about what our picks are for our showdown?
I think we might actually hold back on those because this is going to be a Patreon, the hosts versus the patrons showdown coming up in May, because we're going to be talking about Brad Dourif rules and the best of Brad Dourif. So this will be you, me, and the patrons against each other. So I want to give the patrons time to kind of pick and vote on the movie that they want to do.
Okay. All right.
And
fair
represent
enough.
themselves.
I've got my top 3 ready to rock. Yeah, our May showdown topic. If you haven't been listening, if you haven't been catching up, first of all, where the fuck have you been? Get your shit together. Get caught up on the episodes, guys. We're talking about our next showdown in May. It's going to be the topic is going to be Brad Dourif rules with a big old Z on the end, because he in fact does. This is of course the best of Brad Dourif. Good old Brad Dourif. We talked about with quite a bit of extent last minisode. When we talked about Child's Play, and man, we're just getting knee deep in just piles and piles of Dourif, because we're going to get off to that topic for our showdown. And you might be saying, "What's a showdown episode? What the fuck is this topic stuff? What are you talking about?" Well, here's how it goes. Cool your fucking jets. Every single Monday, we put out some spicy, sweet content on the internet. The first Monday of every month, we do what's called a showdown topic. That's when in the previous weeks, our friends, our listeners, our social media compatriots, they give us a whole bunch of suggestions. We provide some of those suggestions. We got a big old spinning ass wheel. Spin it 3 times, put it on the social medias. Folks vote which of the potential 3 topics they want for the showdown episode. Once we have it, me, Steve, and our guest, or in this case, our collective Patreon community, picks a movie associated with that particular topic. In this case, it's Brad Dourif movies. And then we each argue why we think ours is the best. Someone's maybe going to get the chair laid on them and then a big old leg drop stomped out on. Maybe somebody's going to get a super kick. Eventually, someone's going to take home that son of a bitchin' championship strap for the month. Then that person, of course, to the victor go the spoils, gets the opportunity to pick a punishment for myself in this case, because Steve won it in April. So that's why we're picking goddamn Hellmaster. Yeah, so it'll be a little surprise when we jump into the May showdown on what Brad Dourif movies we're talking about. But being that we've already done Child's Play, being that we've already done Exorcist Part 3 way back once upon a time, I think way back when we did like a religious horror, which was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine you guys can guess what movies might be on there. Anything else, Steven? Oh, let's talk about what's going over on the Patreon real quick as well. Why don't you tell them boils and ghouls over there what's going on?
Yeah, big dog, over on the patreon.com/Halloween is forever. We got all kinds of goodies for you. We got a bunch of reviews and recos. I wrote up a whole bunch of stuff this month. I want to throw this out here to you, Brian, because I don't know if you're aware of it, but this isn't my guy. This is your guy. But we talk about this, how you're a full moon kid and I was a trauma kid.
Sure.
And your boy Charles Band put out a new movie this literally just last week, I think. It's called Prompt. And
Prompt.
Yeah.
It's an AI situation.
And I believe Charles Band has, and I'm not giving too much away because I wrote like one paragraph on the Patreon about this, but I'm going to talk about it here because I need you to know about it.
Okay, fair enough.
I believe Charles Band has figured out a way to subsidize his AI pornography habit.
Okay.
Into a tax write-off because that is what this movie is. The movie Prompt is this. It is softcore pornography made with AI. The whole movie, as far as I can tell, is a blonde lady sitting at a computer making AI pornography and then gelling off to it. And then I believe the film culminates in two real ladies, the aforementioned blonde lady and her friend, having sex in front of the AI.
Sure. Yeah. Classic tale. Classic love story.
Yeah. But the movie's main source of nudity is AI nudity and AI softcore lesbianism. And there is a bunch of like boobies that have sort of nipples. Like it's the outline of a nipple, but it's not the shape of a nipple. And it's just a bunch of shitty AI pornography. And of course, the movie's also, I don't even think, an hour long. So Charles Band is just,
this is a 54-minute. This is a 54-minute flick that maybe should have been 37 minutes.
It shouldn't be at all.
It shouldn't exist. Sure. Yeah. Fair enough. As much as I love some full moon features, as much as I love a Charles Band, I would say 40% of his movies shouldn't exist. This sounds like one of them. But then that other 60%, fantastic. No, I would say 20% of that remaining 60% is pretty good.
Like if it's from the 80s and 90s, it probably cooks. But
yeah,
man, I think anything after 2010 is a no-go. Anything since AI has been discovered is Charles Band just, padding time with AI. It is like he has no scruples whatsoever.
No. Any little bit of charm that might have been there from, like I said, I mean, I would even go, there's some stuff from the late 80s, but certainly the 90s being the heyday for me of the full moon features, give me a Head of the Family 7 days a week. Right. Sure. But then, once you get into the early 2000s, we're still doing some fun stuff. We're getting into a lot of evil bongs, right? A lot of ginger dead men, things of that nature. That's fine. There's some fun things to be had there. But once you get hit about 2010, 2012, you can just give up. You can give up on full moon features from there. And it sounds like you should definitely not watch this. Although out of just morbid curiosity, I might, just for some weird, and forgive me. I haven't delved into the depths that is AI pornography quite yet. It's only a matter of time. Does AI treat nipples like they treat fingers? Like they just can't figure them out yet?
Yeah, I mean, it struggles with him. It doesn't get it. Like sometimes, there's the one. I didn't watch the movie at all. Like I just skimmed through it. Like it's on Tubi. I skimmed through it like with the sound off, just because I wanted to see what Charles Band was up to. And what Charles Band is up to is just like putting his own AI jerk off prompts into a movie, and sometimes it gets it right, and sometimes it's like, a really big eraser nipple, and sometimes it is just like a blurred splotch, like it's a discoloration, it treats the nipple as like a discoloration. It's just like yeah.
Well, listen, and what I always said is I actually prefer a breast with no nipple. It's a blemish as far as I'm concerned. I just want it to be completely nippleless. Well, you can certainly go over and read Steve's write-up on Prompt.
That was pretty much the whole write-up. I didn't write much about that one.
You just talked about how the nipples are all fucked up.
Like, okay. Yeah, my latest entry where I had about 4 movies in there, and I talked about Psycho Killer, and then like another found footage film I found on Tubi, and that one. I probably spent the most time, like I probably have like 1,000+ words about that film Psycho Killer, because it's wildly interesting how stupid it is. So yeah, I think people might get a kick out of reading about that. But yeah, so go on the Patreon. You can read all about all those stuff. I have, just tons and tons of write-ups. We do 31 Days of Horror. We do it all. And then you also can get an exclusive podcast episode every month with our brand new series that we do. We do them in 10 episode series. And our brand new one currently running is God Is Not Forever, a roadmap to killing his dumb ass.
Yeah. That's what we're doing. We're cinematic roadmap to how we can figure out how to commit deicide. We are watching a wide range of films, everything from weird, unwatchable, experimental black and white horror to weird, trippy horror, exploring the nature of reality and consciousness and all those things. We're coming up on what, the 4th or 5th?
We're on the precipice of recording episode 4. Yeah.
Yeah. And just for a little teaser, for those of you who might be interested, we are going to discuss a film from the year of our Lord, 1995, The Prophecy, starring one Christopher Walken. It's got a Viggo Mortensen in there. It's a lot of fun. So, that'll be coming out for the end of the month. Go over there, give us 5 little dollary dues over there. And then also you can join us in the Discord as we record live and interact with us as we record live, which is a lot of fun as well. We love when the Patreons join us on here. All right. I think I've put it off just about as long as I can.
I got you. I snuck a different bad movie in to talk about before doing this one.
This is just an abomination here. We're going to talk a little bit about, like I said, Hellmaster from 1992. This film I have seen before. I did not remember a lot about it for good reason. I will say this did pop up on my radar coincidentally quite recently because I was at the very excellent Vinegar Syndrome store in the south side of beautiful Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I'm just doing my browsing, just, going through there, fingering stuff, going through all the stacks of shit and just seeing all the yummy movies on the shelves. And I see this fucking sick 4K. I don't know if it's 4K, but whatever the release is, I don't think it was 4K. Whatever it is, DVD, Blu-ray, I forget which one it is. But it was it's a fucking awesome. If you look on Letterboxd, the poster that shows up when you look it up with the flames and the whatever his fucking name is, Billy cut him up face, whatever fucking name is, on the thing. It's an awesome poster, and they made it into an even more awesome case, shell case for the DVD or Blu-ray or whatever. And I looked, I was like, Hellmaster, why do I know that? And I pulled up the old Letterboxd. Sure enough, I did watch it. I did rate it. Gave it a balmy 1 star.
Sick.
And I don't remember when. I could probably go back and see when I did that. I don't know how to do that, but I could probably go back and look and see when.
Well, within the existence of Letterboxd, so in the past 10 years, I guess.
yeah. Sometime not terrifically far back. I don't know how to look it up, but I did rate it a 1 star, And you know what? This is my second time watch. And upon watching it again, I will say that I might have been inaccurate in my rating. This is a half a star at most. That was 1 star, was fucking generous. I must have been feeling real generous. I can only imagine I was half paying attention to this movie because although there are a couple of fun parts, I would say probably 4 or 5 cool scenes. Overall, this movie sucks shit.
Yeah.
It's directed by a gentleman named Douglas Scholes. I have not seen anything else he has directed. I'm looking through just to make sure I am not completely mistaken. I do not believe any of these things are on my radar. No, sir. No, sir.
Nope.
Yeah, haven't seen a damn other thing from this guy.
So interestingly, like looking through his credits, I mean, he basically is a auteur out of Michigan. These are the things I learned about him. He's an auteur out of Michigan, and Hellmaster was his very first film in 1992, or at least his very first feature. And then he did nothing again until 2002. And at that time, 1992, he already kind of perfected the straight to DVD formula before there was a straight to DVD formula, because every other film subsequent to Hellmaster is basically the same and a straight to DVD on Anchor Bay distro type of film where he gets one relatively known name in horror to do 10 minutes in the film and then puts in a bunch of other dog shit. But, obviously in this film, the big sell is John Saxon, but also David Emge is also credited as well. So I think this is the only one that actually features 2 names of horror in John Saxon and David Emge. Everyone else is like, he gets, in kind of in a interesting closing the loop. Obviously this film has a lot of Hellraiser themes to it.
That's a lot. This movie tries to rip off every single movie and does a horrible job of all of it.
Yeah. But with all the stolen visual iconography from Hellraiser and all that, his latest film from 2023 has Doug Bradley as his big get. But other films include like Sid Haig and Veronica Cartwright. So he picked somebody out. I mean,
like you said, John Saxon, 100 probably 200 IMDb credits, 151 on films on Letterboxd, A Nightmare. And genre fans know exactly who John Saxon is. Nightmare on Elm Street, From Dusk Till Dawn, which I just showed when I was in Scotland. Late night, coming home from the pub, sitting on the couch in the Airbnb, throwing on a movie. I threw on From Dusk Till Dawn, and my friend Jeremy had not seen it, and he was like, "This fucking movie's insane." I was like, "Yes, this is the most absolutely most entertaining movie ever fucking made." But yeah, Black Christmas, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, Tenebrae. I mean, he's in fucking everything. And then you mentioned David Emge. Pretty dramatic drop down from Saxon, but genre fans would definitely know him from Dawn of the Dead and Basket Case 2 probably, and that's really about it.
I mean, this was his last film, so
yeah. I mean, I think he probably pops up a lot more in 70s and 80s TV. This film
actually no, he only has like 5 credits. He did.
I thought he would be a big TV guy.
No. He had
interesting. Okay.
2 credits before Dawn of the Dead, and then 2 credits after Dawn of the Dead, which in Basket Case 2 and Hellmaster. Yeah. Other than that, he really didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, they tried to make this movie. I mean, this just reeks of like a fucking grift, right? You get those 2 guys that are recognizable, or at least one guy's very, and another one is reasonably recognizable. Originally, this movie was called the original working title and theatrical release title was Them. Tough name, right?
Yeah.
It was written as Soul Stealer, both 2 words and 1 word, and it was used in some of the trailers. One of the working titles was Carnage on Campus, which obviously they didn't go with, and then solely to draw the unjust comparison to Hellraiser, they called it Hellmaster.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is like if Stephen King wrote Nightmare on Elm Street, Prince of Darkness, Hellraiser, and perhaps The Brood, and then was carrying all the scripts at once, fell down the stairs, and just scrambled them back all together. And also if he sucked at writing. That's
right.
That's what this script is.
This is like the studio page dropping all those scripts, and then a whole bunch of the pages blew away, so he has to rewrite a whole bunch of them himself, and he's just going,
he got, like, peanut butter. I'm gonna get in trouble on a bunch. Yeah, he got peanut butter on a bunch of them. You had to throw them away. They were unsalvageable, and then he just scribbled a bunch, and then they ended up fucking filming it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you want to get into the story of this movie, but it is truly, the storyline is incomprehensible. I guess I'll start by reading the Letterboxd description. Let me start with the tagline. He'll show you the way to hell and meet you there. Kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie. That's all right.
Sure,
There's nothing wrong with that. A psychotic college professor uses unwitting students as laboratory rats, injecting them with a drug that mutates them into gory killers. I think that's mostly true, but that is a gross misrepresentation of what you will primarily be viewing on screen.
Yeah. Yeah, it is everything for this film.
That's the first 5 minutes. Which feels like it should be way later in the movie, but it starts the movie.
Everything that is like the tagline and the, like you're saying, this is all doctored to just trick somebody into picking it up at the video store. Like everything is just crafted just so to not give away that this movie fucking sucks. Yeah,
there was clearly some I don't want to say big ideas. There were some ambitious ideas in the script. Primarily, you could tell he really wanted to lean into this whole philosophy angle.
Yeah,
a lot more.
Sure.
And then after 90 rewrites and all the changes and shit that probably happened here, it ends up just feeling very horseshoe, shoehorned in. So John Saxon is a professor that, like, once upon a time at this college. It's not a college, it's a high school, right?
No, it's a college. It's a college.
Is it? Because they talk about it being like this. I thought I remember. It doesn't. Irrelevant, but it's this very strange, exclusive, like almost experimental college, I guess. And they spend a ton of time early on, like, talking about this institution and all the uniqueness and like what they're trying to accomplish with the students. And it's very like high-tech futuristic. Like they're in a classroom with like headsets on, and they're talking to a professor who's on like a digital screen, which of course is commonplace now, but would have been very futuristic then. But they're not really explaining why. There's a lot of things that happen that there's just no explanation to why it is the way it is. But at this college 20 years before, I think it is, or something like that, John Saxon was a professor who invented this drug that for some reason he has some sort of like philosophical connection to Nietzsche associated with this drug. And they explain it later as it's just some sort of like acid like highly corrosive acid that when he pulls people's blood out, mixes it with this acid, and then injects it back into them, it turns them into like these like zombies that he can control, essentially.
Yeah.
That takes an enormous amount of time to discover and figure out.
And it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense when it's done.
It doesn't make any sense, but like, and then later, 20 years later, there is I guess he's a journalist, a reporter of some sort. David Emge is a reporter that is trying to uncover, or maybe he's a detective. I'm not really sure. I think he's a reporter, right?
I think he's a reporter because he's always typing at a typewriter. So I just assume reporter.
Yeah. It's, again, we're not crazy. It is this hard to decipher.
Yeah.
But he is trying to uncover the things that are happening. But at one point, you think that John Saxon's character dies. And I don't know if we're meant to think that he died. One of the only cool scenes is in the first 4 minutes of the movie, which is when they go in and find his like dungeon of like locals that he is experimenting on.
Mm-hmm.
And it has this weird, I mean, they kind of have this weird, almost Dawn of the Dead kind of coloration to them, but it has this almost found footage way that it's shot, and it's kind of cool. It's not that cool. It's just kind of cool.
It was enough. Like, it was enough that I remember watching it the first time and got me hooked to keep watching it. I was like,
sure.
Oh, this is kind of weird. I wonder why I've never heard of this film, because this is like an interesting scene. And then like probably about 10-15 minutes into the film, I'm like, oh, this is fucking trash. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like it kind of draws you in with these first few minutes, and then there's so much. I will say, even the next few minutes after this, I was a little bit on board, mostly because a bunch of zany teens getting introduced, a bunch of zany kids, teenagers, early 20s, but college students being introduced. They're all very quirky. You've got the kind of, I guess she's the main protagonist. She is like the brainy, pretty girl. She is psychic.
Maybe.
So it's almost like, this is why I thought it was a high school, because this, but it does, I guess it doesn't matter if it's high school or college, but like, it's almost like an X-Men situation.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is this is supposed to be an X-Men situation. And okay. So the film, I don't see, this is why I don't know how good or bad the writer is. Like, it's all Douglas Scholes, right? He's the writer, the producer, the director, and the editor on this. And so everything that is bad you can put on his shoulders, because the story doesn't make sense, the acting sucks, the editing is terrible, and so all of that you can lay on his shoulders because he's the one in charge of it all. But there is like concepts here that could work under somebody else's guidance, because the idea of opening like this X-Men like institute, of bringing in these essentially super children, because it's following kind of the Nietzsche elitism philosophy of like only the most genius children should be educated,
highest performers.
They're the only ones who should be educated. They're the only ones who their art is valid. They're the only ones who create, and they should be held as a pinnacle for the rest of society. Although everybody else is like, he had like an egalitarian view of like, but that doesn't mean we put everybody down the drain. It's just like, we should elevate our highest to
the best and brightest.
We should elevate them as high as they can go. And so like, that's kind of the theory behind like John Saxon's character of like, we're going to bring together all these X-Men kids, and then we're going to inject them full of drugs to make them even better. But he makes like, weird zombie killers instead.
But he also seems to think that is a success, and like he's doing something good with that, which is confusing. Also the okay, so the kids, this whole institution seems almost entirely empty, right? There seems to be about between 10 and 20 students in this entire institution.
Yeah.
There's the psychic girl. There is a kid with like a some sort of physical disability who's on has crutches. There's a kid with a whip.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that seems to be he's like a meathead, like kind of fascist in training with a whip is the only way I can describe him. Like he's in 1992. This is what your uncle who's unbearable on Facebook was like. You know, he had a whip, he wore cowboy boots. You know, he peaked in 1992, and now he's just a pest on the internet, right? That's what this kid is. Then there's like just kind of the sensitive, bleeding heart, intellectual kid who's kind of the love interest, kinda of the psychic girl.
The psychic girl of Psychic Girl Shelley.
And then I do not, I'm not throwing this out there. I'm not imposing this on there. This is something that's brought up time and time again in the movie. Then there's just a random whore. I don't know how else to say it. There's just a character who her character is like, she's just like this 80s, late 80s, early 90s, like kind of airheaded bimbo character.
Yeah.
And that's how everybody talks about her. It's like, that is like the accepted role that she plays. You know what I mean? It's very strange. It's very Cabin in the Woods a little bit, you know, in a way.
Yeah. One, it doesn't make sense because both her and her boyfriend appear to be dumb as fuck. So how are they in How are they in the X-Men school? Because they never show that they have any powers beyond being absolutely stupid.
Well, and she even at one point they like call on her in class and they just all like, you're like, you're stupid, and laugh at her. And she's like, never mind. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
It's like a weird social experiment they're pulling on them of like, let's get these two absolute nitwits to come to the school, and they're going to be ostracized for being nitwits, despite being, you know, handsome and tall and pretty and all the things that would make them acceptable outside of this institute. But now we're going to pick on them and just like, we're going to test to see, like, we're going to put these two obvious punching bags here, and we're going to test the rest of the students to see what kind of empathy they, you know, exhaust on them.
It's so strange. The whole thing requires very little, like, I don't know. I think you can't really explain it, because I think it is just like, we're going to put some archetypes in there and like the script be damned kind of thing.
Yeah. Which it's also stupid because we have Prince of Darkness, you know?
Yeah.
In Prince of Darkness, everybody in there is some sort of brainiac and expert. Like, they just go with that. And that movie's from 87. So like, how do you not know that?
And some of them are shitheads, like, in an entertaining way. Even though they're like super smart, they're still like
drunks, and
you know, they're still like the misogynistic asshole, and then they're still like the womanizer. They're still like the, mostly the guys are dildos in that movie. But like that, just if you like anything about this movie, just shut it off and watch Prince of Darkness. You're gonna have so much fun.
Absolutely.
But we get these reports of like a church bus that got hijacked and people were killed, and then there's a would-be student of this janky X-Men Academy who's like stranded on the side of a road with her dad and little sister because they have like a flat tire or something, and the dad's trying to change the tire, and ultimately this church bus, which I wrote it down. What is it? It's the
Happy Smile Bible School.
Yeah, because all I could think of was Smiling Friends. Like,
right, yeah.
Smiling Friends church bus.
Happy Face Bible School is what it is.
Happy Face Bible School.
Yeah, but it has a big smile and a crucifix on top of the bus.
Yeah. Pulls up, and then they're chased by some like bandaged, bloody foot lumbering something that we never really see. But yeah, so we know someone who's presumably not John Saxon is out and about doing murders in some capacity and terrorizing people.
Yeah. In this scene, I think it's like we get the sense that it's more than one for sure, because
yes.
the father, who I bet you can't believe that this is the only film he's ever been in, but the father gets dragged under the bus as his daughter is investigating, and then from behind her comes the bloody-footed nun. Which here's a fun connection for you, Brian. The bloody-footed nun is played by Ron Ashton. And
well, that sounds familiar.
I know it should, because Ron Ashton is the guitarist for the Stooges and star of Frostbiter, Curse of the Wendigo. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say there's a movie connection here, but yeah, that's Iggy's old boy. And yes, that is a fun movie, Frostbiter, Curse of the Wendigo. Go watch that too.
I did a quick I did a quick like cross reference using the IMDb cross reference thing. Just to check if there's any more connections, but apparently it's just Ron Ashton in both films, and then like a couple camera department people. Like, yeah, nobody of note that's in this film goes on to do more in Frostbiter, except for Ron Ashton. So,
God bless you, Ron Ashton. We didn't mention, but the university here is called, I don't know if they say it out loud, if they say Kant or Kant. But it is obviously another philosophy reference. Again, I get the feeling that the writer really wanted to lean hard into this whole philosophy thing. And when somebody agreed to finance his project, they were like, okay, let's do it. But lose all that stupid philosophy shit and put more guys with scars all over their face and make it like Hellraiser and make it like Prince of Darkness and all that.
I think you're giving it too much, because this is mostly a non-union production made in Michigan, and again, Douglas Scholes has control of everything. So
yeah.
I think it's just more like he just has like he had a surface understanding of Nietzsche, and then just decided to put in other philosophy names, because he can't even stick to philosophy for it all, because at one point they go to Poe Hall. It's just Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah. He's just doing like very surface level literary references at some point. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I'm trying to apply the rules of normal like production scenarios to what is just like a bizarre, I don't even want to say vanity project, just like a singular dysfunctional auteur's vision that didn't really come together.
Yeah, it's not a full vanity project like The Room, or like a Neil Breen project, because Douglas Scholes would have to be either David Emge. Yeah, he'd either have to be David Emge or the Drake character in this movie, so he can get the ladies or save the ladies, be seen as cool.
Yeah. I mean, we get this their professor is acting weird. He's walking around with guns. He ends up being confronted by the reporter, and then they have like this really long this is a great time to bring it up. The dialogue in this movie is atrocious in almost all circumstances. The professor, not John Saxon, the other professor, is genuinely a terrible actor. Like, he is horrible in this, like his entire performance is terrible. they have a bit of a conflict. He pulls a gun on the reporter. The one student sees it. It's just things are starting to unravel. But then like there are about 4 scenes in the first 45 minutes of this movie that feel like they should be in the third act, but are in like pretty much the first act.
Yeah.
And it's like, so by the time we get to the third act, they have no idea where to go. Like, it is just so all over the place.
They're so lost. And again, like I can't stress enough how badly the editing just fucks this movie over, because there are so many times when lines are delivered via ADR over a reaction shot just to try and make this thing make sense, or try to fill in something they didn't film properly. So it's something about the way this was filmed. You can tell they didn't have enough coverage to have things to cut away to. So sometimes they just cut away to nothing. Sometimes they cut to reused shots, or they recut to the same shot, but use like a different tail of the same shot. They did not film enough on this film to get enough to make it coherent.
And to make it even worse, there are a lot of times where you can't hear what they're saying. I'm watching a movie from 1992 in English, and I'm having to read the subtitles to figure out what they're saying.
Yeah.
There's a scene where pretty early on where like the professor is talking to some of the students or whatever, and it sounds like it's being filmed inside like a giant industrial refrigerator. Like, it's just this humming, this mechanical humming is like deafening.
Yeah, it's a deafening HVAC for no reason. I can't understand why that
huge
made it.
Air compressor just going nonstop. It's insane.
And so what we're watching on Tubi is the Vinegar Syndrome release. And so
this is like the remastered version.
This is the best they could do with it.
Yeah. It's bad.
We're kind of talking about the same scene, but like that confrontation between the reporter and the non-John Saxon professor does eventually lead to John Saxon revealing himself. And like John Saxon's big reveal is he's walking down, like they filmed this in an active mental institution.
Yeah, it looks at times like it's filmed in the place from Session 9 a little bit,
right.
But just like a lot earlier and with weird lighting.
So it does have like a cool architecture to it, and it has like these weird tunnels that are all, like brick, and they have John Saxon coming down like this weird, set of tunnels, and he's speaking his lines into this absolute awful, atrocious echo chamber. To the point that you cannot hear him because his words are literally slamming into each other as he talks. And he's like making his big grand, introduction. He's like, "Oh, I am right." But you can't even tell what he's saying. He's just, rah, 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 and everybody.
You have to read. Yeah, you have to read the subtitles. It's the only way you can tell what he's saying.
Yeah. And everybody just looks at him because they just hear a loud noise coming down the fucking hall.
And the big reveal for him, because you think he's going to be like kind of fucked up looking or something, but it's like, no, the big reveal is just like his teeth are kind of messed up.
Yeah, he's got bad teeth and a black trench coat. So he's just been like drinking coffee and watching The Matrix. Great.
Yeah. He speaks in a lot of, I guess, Nietzsche quotes, and I don't know. He's not intimidating. Despite John Saxon being a great actor and like being able to deliver lines with gravity, he just feels like the biggest bully among dorks. You know what I mean? Like there's a bunch of fucking dorks in the room, and there's one dork who realized he can just like talk a big game and bully the other dorks. That's what it feels like. It feels like if somebody just came in off the street, they would just slap him in the face and say, "Shut up, dork." Like, he's not intimidating. He's not scary.
Oh my God, he's JP's dad from Grandma's Boy.
Yeah. Oh no. kept waiting for explanation as to why the one dumbass student had a whip. I would put it on par with the one guy from Demon Wind being a random magician and just doing a whole magic act.
Yeah.
When he arrives, like there's no explanation to it at all. It's just something they were like, we got to make this guy stand out, and it worked because he's the whip guy, right?
Yeah. They had two handsome guys with slick back hair, and they couldn't differentiate between the two, so they're like, give one a whip.
The whole time we're getting all this dialogue, and I hesitate to even call it character development because we're not really learning a ton about the characters. We're also getting kind of seemingly random cuts back to these two cops that were investigating the bus. Like they found the stolen church bus or getting murdered by people who mostly are off screen. One of them was like hung, and then eventually they're like tied up and like dragged. And it's just like, we don't really have any context for it. And it does feel like something that could have happened in, just in one scene and then just let it go. You know what I mean? But for some reason we keep going back to the plight of these cops. We then start to understand we start to get a cast of characters for John Saxon's like brood, if you will. And I use the term brood intentionally because one of the people looked like one of the little kids straight out of the brood. If you put like a little puffer jacket and pulled the hood up, it would look just like one of the little kids from the brood. There's the nun that you mentioned. There is Bobby, who has his face all cut up. And they refer to him, I don't know in the movie, but I think in the credits as Bobby Razorface.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a fan term, but I don't know if it was in the at least online when I'm looking up the cast and stuff. It's Bobby Razorface Miller or something like that.
It's they all have
Jones.
the last name Jones because they're part
Jones.
of the Jones cult, and like they also all have like kind of J crosses carved in their foreheads. So like they're trying to do like a Manson,
Jonestown,
Jim Jones type thing all at the same time. But so it's like Mama Jones, Joey Jones, Bobby Jones, Moon Jones. So
yep. You're right. I didn't realize they were all Jones. Yeah, Bobby Razorface Jones, Joey Jones, which he refers to at one point as Joey the Monkey Boy, which I thought was pretty awful. I mean, no context at all for that. Which one was Moon Jones?
That is the one who's like, she's like a schoolgirl. But
and her hair's all falling out and shit.
Yeah. That's the other thing is they all kind of take on the same weird puffy face that's also bald. So like I don't know, he was trying to do a thing of like, yeah, look, they're super evolved when they get to this level, but they all just look like old men. Like they look like they've been exposed to a ton of radiation. Yeah, they all have the same old man face as the guy in Frostbiter, as the old man in the cabin in Frostbiter. It's the same fucking face.
Yeah. You're right. And like he's just always giving him more juice by like just jamming. He's got this like, it's not just a regular syringe. It's like if a syringe was so there is also the reporter literally has like a crossbow that he shoots syringes out of, which is wild. But he also has this almost like gun-like apparatus that has 3 syringes kind of in one. That he uses quite frequently, but he's giving them more juice by like sticking it in the back of their neck, pulling out some of their blood, like mixing it with the whatever this drug is, and then putting it back in, and then he can control them. We also learn really, really later, like too far into the story, because it doesn't make sense for 90% of the movie, we learn that, and this is the Freddy angle, because they were really going for a Hellraiser thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly with Bobby Razorface, because he's vaguely resembles Pinhead a little bit. Mostly because it looks like his face is scored like you would score the skin of a ham before you baked it, you know? So he's got that like that Pinhead vibes with the cross pattern. So I'm sure that's why they changed it to Hellmaster, is because someone saw that and said, yeah, you know what? Just call it Hellmaster and put his face all over even though like he's not really a pivotal character in the movie at all.
Yeah, you expect him to be like the main bad guy. Like he's not. Yeah, you expect that's what John Saxon has turned into. Yes. If you were just doing like a cursory glance at all the stuff without watching the movie, you think, oh, that's John Saxon probably, but it's not.
No, he's just one of his like underlings, one of his goons. But it really felt like they were going more for a Freddy thing because, well, one, it makes sense. John Saxon was, most closely associated with that franchise as far as horror fans are concerned. But he whenever he injects you with his drug, mixes it with your blood or whatever, he can induce hallucinations. Mm-hmm. However he wants.
Yeah. It's
he can like make you dream things, but it's not a dream. It's like a daydream kind of thing. So he can just make you kind of see whatever he wants. He can control your mind in that sense.
I think this is the writer trying to do like an MK Ultra type thing, because one, it's a government experiment. Two, they're experimenting with acid, and three, they're experimenting with acid to do telepathy and telekinesis. So it's like an MK Ultra, like
that's a good point.
Sort of LSD reference, but also at the same time, they're doing Freddy because it's the needles from it's the needle glove sort of from Dream Warriors. And then there's also the scene where the one professor gets hung up like a puppet, which
calls
both the Dream Warriors and Hellraiser with the way the chains rip apart. What's it? Frank at the end of Hellraiser.
I was thinking Hellraiser, but you're right. I forgot about the scene with the marionette scene from Dream Warriors too. The other thing that's upsetting about this movie is there are some decent, fun practical effects, but there's also so many off-screen kills.
Yeah,
it's just cheap. Even the fucking dick with the whip that we hate, that we want to see him die, he fucking dies off screen. Like there's so many off screen deaths. I would say that I saw a lot of people write like that, this movie is like so bad it's good type of thing. And I would say kind of, but the best parts aren't. There is a part where the little brood looking baby gets killed because the freaking journalist, the way he kills them, the way, he's got the crossbow with the syringes in it. He just shoots the fully concentrated acid drug into people. And when you don't dilute it, it just melts your brain.
Yeah.
And he shoots the little goon in the back of the head and his brain melts and comes out of his nose, and it's kind of sick.
Yeah, that's probably like the best shot. Well, yeah, it's probably the best special effects shot of the film.
Yeah, but otherwise, there really aren't very many like, oh, that's wacky fun, like Frostbiter, for example. There's not a lot of stuff like that you're just like, oh my god, that's crazy kooky practical effects. Most of the laughs, I would say, come from dialogue. Mm-hmm. Like the dialogue is so bad. The meathead that's friends with the boyfriend of the two dipshits that we were talking about. Yeah. Why are they there? The meathead boyfriend has some unbelievably stupid lines that are worth that are worth listening to, I guess.
At least they fit for him. Like, they honestly fit for him because he's fucking stupid. But everybody else is not an actor. Like, I think if you go, I didn't go through the entire cast, but if you go through the entire cast, you'll find that most of these people are Michigan locals who this is their only credit, and like they never went on to do literally anything else. There's a weird one in there because I was just clicking on names. In the scene with Whip Boy, where he has a girlfriend, right? But then he's also in this room with another girl, just taking
the one he's taking pictures of, nude pictures of.
Yeah. I clicked on her name just because I was like, who the fuck is this? Because she's the only person who gets naked in this film, and I felt bad for her. I was like, you got naked for Hellmaster. Please tell me went on to do something else.
Yeah.
She has the longest IMDb biography I have ever read for one credit in this film. And her IMDb biography is fucking 15 paragraphs about how she is a CEO of 3 different luxury brands for yoga and health and wellness. And she's married to fucking 1984 U.S. Olympian Mitch Gaylord. And I'm like, lady, take this down. You were in Hellmaster and showed your boobs.
She copied and pasted her Wikipedia page into her IMDb profile.
She might have, but it's just like, take it down. You can just say, don't tell people I was in Hellmaster showing my boobs.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, if she wants to put, she's perhaps still an aspiring actor. Who knows? That's bizarre. Yeah. I will say one other small bit, and I talked about how the lighting is bad in this movie. I don't know. I agree with you. And it's not across the board. There are some times when the lighting is pretty cool. I would just say there were certain scenes that were so dark that I felt like I couldn't see what was happening. And that annoyed the hell out of me.
Sure. Yeah.
But there are some like decent fall, like Halloween vibes. Like this supposedly, they don't really talk about it much that I remember, but this is taking place around Halloween time. Like there are scenes where there are, pumpkins and corn stalks and stuff like that. So that's kind of fun. It's not a horrible movie to look at.
Yeah.
And like you said, the architecture of the building that they're shooting it in makes for some really cool long shots.
Yeah. There's some really cool long shots in this. So this is the one person who I think went on to do anything of note from this film is the cinematographer. His name is Michael Goy, Goi. And he has like a huge, he has like 76 cinematographer credits and then, like 20 or 30 other camera department credits. But he went on to, and even like 20 some director credits. But he directed like 2 episodes of that Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
He directed an episode of that Swamp Thing TV show I like that only got a season. He directed 4 episodes of American Horror Story and then was like the cinematographer on like 52 episodes. So like,
oh, wow.
So like you can kind of see some of his early, especially as it relates to American Horror Story, but like all the crazy lighting that's in here, like there's a lot of red gel lights and two of my favorite looking scenes. There's one scene where they're in a hallway and they're panning down the hallway as it's either Shelley or the bimbo are walking down the hall with a gun and they're passing by what would be the light coming in from windows, and the windows are like purple and yellow gelled like stained glass, and it's passing over the actor as they pass down the hall. That's really good looking. And then he throws in like a Scorsese Hitchcock dolly zoom for one scene when Shelley is running down this really long hallway with these, towering arches above her. And it does like a dolly zoom push on her. And I was like, man, you're really just showing off for fucking dog shit. Like, you are putting together a great reel for yourself, dude. And it turned out for him.
Good for him.
It turned out for him because he has like a really nice career for himself. So
nice. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I think the despite the, you know, some of the scenes being kind of, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good looking movie overall. Mm-hmm. The last, I'm going to say 35 to 40 minutes of this movie are the one, it is just where you're like, I'm lost. What the fuck is happening? You know, like, what is the goal? I don't know what is motivating John Saxon and his goons at this point. Some of them are dead. Some of them are still there. You know, the reporter is still like lurking around on his own with his crossbow. This is when we get the professor who's like hung up on the strings, like you said, like a marionette dummy. But we're not really sure. We're not really sure to what end. I mean, yeah. The reporter ends up getting, you know, the drug injected into him. So by one of the henchmen, I think the Moon or whatever her name is. Mm-hmm. So now he is susceptible to John Saxon in the sense that he can make him see stuff. I mean, eventually the kid with the crutches does as well, but John Saxon kind of like lures him in because there's a big, you know, theme throughout the movie of him, like he's in love with the one bimbo girl, and he's frankly given off some big incel vibes, but he is like bummed about, obviously, like she doesn't want to date him because of his disability, and the psychic girl is like, no, you're great, and then John Saxon kind of like promises him, like, I'll, you know, fix all your problems if you know, join my little crew and let me shoot the goo into you, basically. So John Saxon's like picking people off, not killing them, but like injecting them with his drug, right? I think he does the same thing with the bimbo girl too. And then, you know what the final kind of showdown is going to be? It's going to be the psychic, him versus the psychic girl. Right. And so it's very, I mean, it's Freddy, right? He's Freddy at this point. But so they're like having these like kind of psychic battles, but I don't think that he ever gave her the drug. So how is he making her see things? Is it because just she's so open to psychic energy or whatever?
See, I think he didn't give the drug to some of the other ones either. I think he just has telepathy hypnosis powers. Because I don't.
Well, I know he gave it to
the reporter. The reporter for sure definitely got it. I think he didn't give it to Joel, the kid on crutches. And I
thought he did.
I don't remember him doing that, and I don't.
Well, maybe he's in that like long hallway, and then he had like the fucking. It was literally behind him on the wall was like a spiral, like he was hypnotizing him.
Right? Yeah. I think he just has telepathy hypnosis powers.
He just hypnotized him. Okay, fair enough. Yeah,
because also there's a thing about in that early scene where they all break into the reporter's room and they have the watch, and I think like he used the watch to hypnotize the reporter to get him to come to the campus in the first place. I'm just making a lot of loose connections for myself to make this fucking thing make sense. But I think
it's so hard to follow.
Yeah, I think he has telepathy hypnosis powers on his own from taking his own drug. Like he is the actual case of his drug working, whereas everything after that is just some abomination, some mess. Mm-hmm. So like and again, the film would have to explain this, but maybe it's a thing where like he's formulated the acid to work specifically with his blood to make him, you know, the Ubermensch, but
Mm-hmm.
it only half works with anybody else because they turn into weird self-mutilating, brain dead monsters. So
Yeah. He he starts to kind of like, the only one that has any type of like arc at all is, Billy Razorface, because one, he's like the most like dangerous one. Like he's the most like, the rest of them are kind of like lumbering zombies a little bit. He is a little bit more agile. He's got this thing that I guess it looks like a nightstick, like a cop's nightstick,
mm-hmm.
but then it has a like foldable like blade.
Yeah.
To make it like look like something maybe you would use to climb like ice climbing or something.
Maybe. Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no idea what it actually is supposed to be. It looks like something you buy at Rogers Flea Market, like when your parents aren't there. Like some like redneck degenerate would talk you into buying this and some ninja stars, and spending all your allowance on it when you're at the dirt mall.
Exactly. This is something the director bought for himself in the back of like Soldier of Fortune magazine in Michigan. He just like saw an ad for it, be like, holy fuck, that's fucking cool. A stick that becomes a knife. Holy shit.
Holy shit. What if cops had these and it's a nightstick, but then you can also stab people in the face? The thing that pisses me off is Billy Razorface kills a bunch of people with it, at least 2, if not 3, but it's always off screen.
Yeah.
Really pisses me off. We do get this one instance where Billy Razorface sees a video footage that I think the reporter might have put on or something of himself, like however many years ago, being like kind of recruited, I guess, by John Saxon. And he starts to like, he sees himself. He used to be like a, kind of like a gutter punk looking kid, whatever. And then he got brought in to John Saxon's like crew, his little culty thing. And then things went sideways. And the telepathic girl, the psychic girl, is like kind of like trying to get through to him. And then she just goes like, nah, never mind. Pow! Sticks the freaking triple needle into the back of his head. And then all the blood starts shooting out of him. Like it's like she like tapped a keg and his head is the keg and it's just foaming. And just, it's just fucking blood squirting out everywhere. It's pretty sick. And then he like, is like ripping his scalp apart. And then like the little weasel love interest kid eventually comes up and I think offs him with his own weapon. But so that's the end of Billy Razorface. This is the point in the movie where I was like, how the hell is there 20 minutes left? What else could happen? I mean, I know we have the showdown left between her and John Saxon, but like there's 20 to 25 minutes left in this movie. What could possibly happen? There's a whole thing with them running down hallways for a long time. I mean, the reporter's still around, but he's obviously got compromised with the drug at this point. The love interest kid has a gun. I believe it's the professor's gun from the beginning of the movie, but he never wants to use it. And the big decision here, the big like, past the point of no return, is when the psychic girl makes the journalist, the reporter, inject her with the drug, in the way that John Saxon would with the mixing with the blood thing, so that she can like get into his brain, I guess. Like this is the way that she's going to be able to battle him. They might have explained it better. It doesn't feel like they ever really explained it. She just kind of passes out after he does that. And you're just like, and he's looking at her like, oh, it didn't work. I killed her. But then John Saxon shows up and starts making him hallucinate all this wild shit. The douchey love interest kid comes in with a gun. He never uses it. He doesn't know what to fucking do with it. And then finally, she wakes back up, the psychic girl, and then like starts manipulating his brain to make him remember like the crimes that he did, I guess, once upon a time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why he cares. Like, did he not remember them? I'm not sure why he cares, I guess.
Yeah, that's just a misstep on her part. Like she should be making some sort of, other construct to confuse him or whatever. But like, yeah, she's trying to throw him back in the time to distract him or whatever, or maybe feel guilt for, causing the fire and then recruiting all these kids.
No, like he feels pretty good about the whole thing.
Yeah,
I feel like
he was into it. Like, yeah, it's been his plan all along. We just don't know to what end.
Yeah, we don't know to what end, but it does feel like it's going well for him.
Yeah.
In a final last ditch effort, she conquers him, kind of, with basically arguing against his vague philosophical leanings.
I meant to ask this earlier because we are alluded to this when we are first introduced to like all the misfit kids as they're watching, TV Professor, and Shelley is the first one to broach the subject of religion within philosophy class. And I just wanted to ask, what Christianity do you think Shelley is? Do you think she's Episcopalian, or do you think she's one of the more like liberal types of Catholic, or even possibly Lutheran?
Yeah, I was gonna guess one of the more liberal types, like non-orthodox version of Catholicism, something down that path, because she's speaking in a little bit of, it could be Lutheran, it could be one of those like non-denominational like Church of God type of things, like Episcopalian adjacent, in the sense that they talk about all that like, just God is love shit. But she basically talks, she mentions, like, it's so lame. And like, I hesitate to even spend much time on it because it's so lame. But like the whole thing is, John Saxon's whole deal is he speaks in all these like Nietzsche quotes, and like the most surface level, even if you don't know who Nietzsche is, his like famous quote, which most people obviously completely misunderstand what he means by it, is like the whole like God is dead thing, right? Like that's his like sexy headline quote that everybody knows him by.
Right.
And it feels like this director, obviously this was before Wikipedia, but might have read the equivalent of the first two paragraphs of Nietzsche's Wikipedia page, and so he didn't really get too far past the whole God is dead thing. So the way that she conquers, if you will, John Saxon's character, is by double talking her way into like a child's argument for why God is not dead. And I brought it up here because she basically said that God is not dead because God is immortal, and death is mortal, and no, evil. God is not mortal, evil is mortal,
right?
And like basically explains to him that he is evil and God is good.
Yeah.
That's basically what she ultimately explains in this like double speak, shitty, like something you would hear of like a carny convincing you to spend an extra couple of dollars on throwing a dart at a balloon.
Yeah.
Like that's the level of logic that she uses, but ultimately basically convinces John Saxon that God is immortal and good, and you are mortal and evil. And John Saxon is like No way, dude. Like, that's basically his response.
See, Brian, this completely destroys your earlier arguments about like how a studio head said you can't put the philosophy into this movie, because this is what it boils down to. This is the best he could come up with as philosophical battles. And is a girl saying, God's alive because God is good. And John Saxon going, no way, dude.
I forget exactly what he says, but he says something along the lines of like, yeah, whatever. Like, it's fucking so stupid. And then ultimately, they just, I'll be honest with you, I don't fully understand what happened with the bullets. I remember he was about to shoot the boy crush love interest with the pistol, and then nothing happened. And then he then, like, it's like a revolver. He pops the chambers out, like the drum out, and all the rounds fall out. And are we meant to believe that it was empty, or she did something psychically to stop that from happening? I'm not sure what we're meant to take from that. But then she looks down, and he has been shot or stabbed with one of the syringes in the hand. We get one less little practical effect of like a literal degloving, where like he pulls his leather glove off, and there's a little hand underneath that's like been degloved in a sense of like all his flesh has been removed and his hand's like melting. And then we do a crazy like melt effect, which is actually pretty sick, because he's starts clawing at his face, and like, I mean, if you the prosthetic face looks horrible, but the clawing of the skin and the melting face is kind of cool. And then they cut to her, and she's just looking at him, and then you cut back and he's on fire. And you're like, why is he on fire?
Was that a Firestarter reference? Like, did she just do that? Does she have? That's why I said pyrokinesis. This whole thing is. Yeah, this whole thing has like a very Stephen King overtones to it. I mean, obviously the telekinesis, the psychic powers. The whole thing has a lot of Stephen King vibes to it. But yeah, he just kind of melts down, what a world. And then they're like, all right, everybody's good. And then you do get not post credits, but like, a couple of screens credits in, and a gloved hand comes up and pulls a ring off of his melted finger. His, like, I don't know, some sort of occult looking ring that he has off of on his dead hand. Yeah.
And I thought to myself, do we know what that ring is? Did I miss that? And I think the answer is no. I don't think there was ever a thing with a ring.
I don't think we know the answer to that either, because let me ask you another similar question. What was in the book TV Professor was trying to hide at the beginning of the film?
The one with the gun in it? I thought he was just trying to hide a gun in it.
Oh, I thought there was something else in the book. I thought because he goes into that room and he puts a book inside of a briefcase. And I thought,
oh, no. He puts the gun. He opens the bookcase. He opens the book, and he's got it cut out to put the gun in the book. And then he closes it and puts the book in the bookcase.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I guess I just missed that one little.
Well, it is very dumb, because just put the gun in the briefcase. You don't need to put the gun in the book and then the book in the briefcase. Just put the gun in the briefcase.
Well, because later he runs into love interest kid who sees that he has the gun in his waist belt. Like he's
putting it in his waist. Yeah. By the way, this is like a 44 mag. Like, you're not hiding it in your little skinny tucked in shirt waist with your little, elbow pad jacket. Like, it's sticking out.
Pointed right at his dick too. Like,
oh yeah, I did think about this stuff. He's about to plexico burst himself to shoot his dick off. This is one of the most difficult to follow movies I have ever seen.
Yeah. It's difficult to follow. But like, it's one, I think you said it at the beginning of the film or beginning of the show when you said you gave this a 1 star, but after rewatching, it's now half a star because the more you pay attention to this film, the dumber it is. Like,
yeah,
we didn't mention it, and maybe you didn't notice it, but it's in that final showdown. John Saxon gets stabbed in the arm by one of his acid needles by the little girl, and she comes out of basically nowhere.
I forgot who stabbed him.
Yeah.
I knew somebody stabbed him, but I couldn't remember who.
Yeah, but it's also another case of very bad editing because out of nowhere they just cut to a shot of little hands grabbing the needle out of a pouch or whatever and stabbing him, and then cut to his gun being pointed at the little girl who's already behind the love interest kid. So like the little girl teleports from being right next to John Saxon to being behind the guy with a gun pointed at her. It's like, what the fuck?
Not only did they not show it happen, they made the spatial dynamics make it feel like that's definitely not what happened.
It's just like, it is just confusing and unpleasant. And like the closer you watch it, the more upset you get because you start hearing, like, on the surface, everything just looks like visuals of a Freddy movie and a Hellraiser movie and, a Firestarter. And it's like, oh, there's a bunch of red lights like a Giallo film. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. But then you watch it and you're like, the fuck is going on in this movie?
The best thing I could say is if you thought to yourself, if you're sitting there on the couch and you just rolled a big old doober and you just ripped that son of a bitch down and you're like, I'm about to fucking eat some chips and watch a motherfucking horror movie. And for some reason you thought to yourself, I'd like to watch 1992's Hellmaster. First suggestion, don't.
Mm-hmm.
Go watch Prince of Darkness. Go watch Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Go watch, and I mean this, any of the Hellraiser films over this. But
maybe
if for some reason,
maybe not
all of them. That was, I mean, that's extreme. That's an extreme stance. I
just think Revelations is the one you don't watch. That's the one that's like, it's in a Mexico resort and is found footage. That's the one you don't watch.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 or 3 you don't watch, but my point is, there's way better things that have very similar vibes, but are way infinitely more watchable.
Mm-hmm.
Not the least of which, Prince of Darkness. However, if you find yourself in a scenario where your internet is out and the only, for some reason, DVD you have in your home is Hellmaster and you have to watch this, do yourself a favor and just half pay attention to it. Because if you half pay attention and you just look up when the weird little gooner brood kid is getting stabbed in the back of the neck and his brains are melting out his fucking nostrils, then you're like, oh, sick. You know what I mean? Then you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of fun. Or when they're hanging up the professor, like a marionette dummy. Oh, okay, I've kind of seen this thing before, but all right, it's kind of cool. You're going to have a better experience. Like you said, I mean, I think you summed it up. The more you pay attention to this movie, the worse it is. And it's already bad.
Yep. Yeah. This does open a new door for us, though, to look at other Michael Scholl's movies as punishment films, because I cannot imagine he gets much better.
I can't. And you know what the funny thing is? Not funny. This is one of those movies. Not funny. It's sad. It's depressing in a way. This movie has a 2.4 on Letterboxd, and I don't put a lot of weight on people's ratings on here, but this movie is not a 2.4.
No.
You're fucking insane. like I said, I gave it a 1 the first time I watched it, and that was generous. There are so many better movies to watch than this that receive less than a 2.4. But I do want to look on here because this is, I'm pretty sure, and let me double check. Well, some of them don't have enough views to actually have a rating.
Yeah.
This is actually, the other ones are rated better, mostly. There is a movie from 2002 called Dark Heaven that has very few, it has 5 reviews. 41 people apparently have watched this movie, and it has anywhere from middling to primarily very, very low. So this does look like dog shit.
Yeah.
But like Mimesis.
Yeah, Mimesis. The fucking terrible.
Mimesis. God, what a bad title. Thorns does slightly well. The Dark Below, and then I thought there was another Mimesis movie.
There
on
is.
Here. Maybe I'm imagining that. Oh yeah, it's Mimesis : Nosferatu.
Yeah.
The fuck is that? Yeah, that's actually, you can find that. That's on Fubo. Like, that's actually out there.
The other Mimesis film is Mimesis: Night of the Living Dead, and so they're reenacting Night of the Living Dead, I guess, as a role-playing game, but it's also a real horror event. I have no idea. I kind of want to watch it because Sid Haig is in it, and this premise sounds fucking stupid. So, I don't know. I have to find it and figure it out.
That is a bizarre... Yeah, I mean, I'm going to put it on the watch list, and then I'm going to be mad because I'm not going to remember why I put it in the watch list. And then I'm going to go watch it, and I'm going to be like, why the fuck did I be mad at past Brian for putting it on his watch list? All right. That was Hellmaster from 1992. I have to say one more time, I do strongly urge you, do not watch it, even though the DVD Vinegar, I don't know if it's Vinegar Syndrome or Arrow Video or whatever, does look fucking sick. It sucks. Don't waste your money. All right. One last reminder. We are going to surprise yins next week for our showdown topic when we talk about me, Steve, and our Patreon community are going to pick some Brad Dourif flicks to beat each other up about for the May showdown. And then soon thereafter, we'll have ourselves one of them old-fashioned punishment episodes once again. Also, if you haven't already, if you haven't checked out the Patreon, I would strongly urge you to do that, because you've got not only our most recent episodes of God Is Not Forever, we've got a new one coming out here within the next week or so. We're going to talk about The Prophecy from 95. You've got the other ones we've already talked about. And then you've got, 3 other Patreon exclusive podcast series. You got a dang old 100 hours of content on there. If you're just itching for some new tent, go over there and check it out on the Patreon. Give us $5 a month. You get all that shit. You get all the backlogs and everything. All right. Anything else, Stephen, before we wrap up this here minisode?
I found Mimesis on Fossum, and just scrubbing through it, it looks like they just remade Night of the Living Dead. I'm not watching that. Never mind. I changed my mind.
Yeah, don't do that.
I changed my mind.
All right, I'll take it. I'll take it off my list. You almost tricked us. You almost tricked us, you rat bastard. You made me put on your list, Douglas, and you almost got me. But you ain't getting me again. You know what I always say. That's what I was just about to say. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me. Well, you can't get fooled.
Can't get fooled yet.
All right. For the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
And I'm Steve.
All right, see you around, you little Hellmasters. You little spooky little Hellmasters. Bye.